Welcome to Fun and Fundraising, everybody, the podcast where we talk with people behind top nonprofit galas and signature fundraiser events to showcase how they positively transform their communities. I'm your host, Rob Giardinelli, and today I am joined by a very special co-host.
Hi, everyone. It's Lance Every Morgan. I'm so glad to be back here with you, Rob. We're going to have so much fun. We've had so much fun with our Success with Style podcast, and I've enjoyed being a co-host periodically with your very successful Fun and Fundraising.
Fantastic. And today we've actually got two really special guests on. We've got Alicia Bryan, who is the board president and event chair, and Kristin Smith, who's the executive director of the American Friends of Versailles. So what we're going to do today is we're taking galas and we're going across the ocean. And they have a wonderful gala, biennial gala, that they're going to be having in late May and early June. And, it's a world-class event with a world-class organization. And we're so excited to have Alicia and Kristin on. And with that, Alicia, Kristin, welcome. And we're so excited to have you both as guests today.
Thank you so much, Rob and Lance. We're so happy to be on your show today, and we thank you for what you're doing in making fundraising fun. So we're excited to tell you about what we're doing. And my name is Alicia Bryan, and I just recently accepted the role of president of American Friends of Versailles. And there's some big shoes to fill. My predecessor, Catherine Hamilton, was in that distinguished role for 25, maybe plus years. So there is definitely a formidable standard that we have to get in alignment with. She has a legacy that will undoubtedly endure for the ages, and we're so thankful for all that she has done. She has really just been a gift to France and improving culture for future generations. And I just want to start off by honoring her.
I think that's fantastic. And I agree, Catherine has left such a mark on, the arts fundraising scene, the international fundraising scene, the Texas fundraising scene. So, I know, Alicia, you're one of the best philanthropists in Texas. So I know that, while, we're moving on from Catherine, I know that we're more than capable hands with you, helming the gala going forward.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited and thrilled to be in this place.
And Kristin, how long have you been with the organization? Because I know you've been a real vital part of its success too. Tell us about your role, if you don't mind.
I've been with the American Friends of Versailles since late March of 2001. So quite a few years, over 2 decades. And since 2006, after I graduated from business school, my title changed to executive director. And I have participated in the restoration projects at Versailles with our board of directors and international council chairman. And it's an honor and a privilege to participate in this charitable endeavor. And I'm looking forward to my 8th gala weekend at Versailles coming May 31st through June 3rd. And it's in honor of the historic French-American friendship, which, as we know, goes way back to before our nation was recognized as an independent country. And France supported our War of Independence with arms and funds, and they were the first country to recognize the United States as an independent country. And they are our oldest ally. And we've never been at war with France. We've had some diplomatic strains here and there, but we like to think the American Friends of Versailles helps keep things going in the cultural arena.
Yeah.
Well, and, I'm glad you bring that up, Kristin, because, I think people might be like, okay, how are Americans, tied to Versailles, or why are Americans tied to Versailles, more importantly? So can you talk a little bit about the mission of American Friends of Versailles and what exactly, the organization does to really, help really preserve this iconic global cultural landmark?
Yeah, I
Yes.
would like to take that question real quick and then
Go for it.
Kristin. So that's a great question, because I have so many people ask me, Alicia, why give to Versailles? I have so many other things that I'd prefer to give to in the United States. And I say, beyond the obvious and beyond the the majesty of the palace and beyond the grandeur of the garden, beyond the centuries of artistic achievement, there is a friendship and there is a history that binds America with France. And it's more than just a secular monument outside the United States. It's directly related to our nation, both politically and historically. It's very important relationship. Going back, starting with Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, and Benjamin Franklin. All of those important meetings were held at Versailles, and the France extended their friendship and financial support for American Revolution at Versailles. So, you know, a lot of people don't even know about this history and the negotiations that took place at Versailles, not just France, but Versailles. So I was, because my family has a museum on, you know, Texas history and the settlement of the West, you know, these things have been drilled into our head, and how to preserve these stories and bring it to the forefront and teach our youth and teach the next generation. So that's very near and dear to my heart. Anyway, Kristin, take it from here.
Oh, no, that's very good. I will just add that the American Friends of Versailles follows in the tradition of John D. Rockefeller Jr., who made very large donations to Versailles after World War I. He wrote to the president of France and offered his support because he realized that those treasures of France were actually international treasures. And he wanted to help enrich the lives of succeeding generations and preserve them and restore them. He gave money for Versailles, the Cathedral of Reims, and Fontainebleau. After World War I, Versailles was not a priority for the French government, and they had to focus on widows and orphans and repairing the land. So John D. Rockefeller, when he went to visit, he noticed that he could help and he offered, and we sort of continue on in that tradition. And as you know, France gave the Statue of Liberty to us, as it's a beacon of freedom, and we sort of like to think that we give back to support Versailles in the same spirit, as well as over 1 million Americans visit Versailles annually. So it's nice to give back.
Yeah.
Wow, it's that many folks. That's a lot of people that travel across the ocean to go visit that space. And I love how you really, both of you in your answers, you just highlighted just the history, the deep history of France and the United States. And then there's other benefactors like John D. Rockefeller a century ago, really paying it forward to propel it into the next century and the current century that we're in.
Yeah, and fast forwarding to right now in the present. So, Kristin, you had mentioned this will be your 8th celebration, and Alicia, this will be your first. And I know you just returned back from a lot of festivities there and doing a reconnaissance mission and getting your sea legs with the organization and all the goals. Can you guys talk us through what our readers can, or excuse me, our listeners can expect? If they bought a ticket, what would that mean and what would that look like at the actual events? I think we'd love to hear y'all take us there to Versailles, if you don't mind.
Sure. So this is my first year, and I will tell you, I am faced with some challenges, and I'm just going to put it out there how important it is to reach this next generation. Catherine Hamilton has done an incredible job for 25 years, but a lot of her supporters are no longer active. So I have had to step up and rebuild. And rebuilding looks like education first. So what I'm having to do is get on the phone, send out letters, talk to people about the importance of being a part of this organization. Even a small partnership has a huge benefit for us. But our ball in June is June 2nd, and we have some really interesting new. So my idea is to have a ball that is attractive to the younger set. And we also have a special pricing for friends and family. we're encouraging families to bring their children, their grandchildren, and we have entertainment that I think they're going to thoroughly enjoy. Inspiration is the name of the company that we hired to do our musical entertainment, which ranges from everything from a full orchestra to a DJ at the end of the night and fireworks. But for our VIP guests, we have procured some very, very amazing properties that are VIP, behind the scenes, private homes, private clubs. And that is all listed in our invitation, which can also be seen on our website, American Friends of Versailles, if people are interested in knowing more.
I'm glad you brought up the part about, the private tours and the private homes, because one of the most unique things that I think art galas in particular do really well is they're able to get private individuals or high profile individuals, depending on, their art collections, to say yes. I'd love for you guys to share, or you both to share, what's the secret to getting someone to say yes and open their home to allow people to see something that, and art is very personal, that frankly can be rather personal to somebody.
I would say that definitely it's about relationships. It's about long-term forged relationships that American Friends has had for the last 25 years, and good relationships. The people that are involved, they're there for a lifetime. They love it. They do whatever they can to help. And we are just blessed to have people in this organization that want to give back as well.
That's
If I
fantastic.
might,
Go ahead, Kristin.
Yes.
if I might add, they can see the results of our before and after restoration projects. The Trois Fontaines Bosquet took 6 years, and it is now the most visited grove at Versailles. The American Friends of Versailles worked tirelessly under the leadership of Catherine Hamilton to raise funds. There were archival drawings inside the chateau. It was a very, very big project. It had lain in ruins since the early 1800s. And so it was dormant for over 200 years. So it's very fun to see the before and after, and people who give to us and open their doors to us want to participate and help in restoring Versailles, so that more and more is opened up to the public of all nationalities to enjoy for the future.
I think it's really important that you point out, Kristin, that people see those dollars at work. A lot of folks who are philanthropists, they don't actually see those dollars at work. So when you're able to see the restoration, to see the completion, 6 years is a long time in the rest, especially in the restoration world. To see that happen and to really enjoy it, and to Alicia, your earlier point of involving more generations, right? Getting the kids and the grandkids involved so that they can help steward their family's presence with Versailles on their end.
Absolutely. And I wanted to actually address the next question to Alicia, because you can actually talk about this with your own family museum, the Bryan Family Museum in Galveston, Texas. Can you share a little bit about the importance, and this really dovetails off what Kristin was just saying, the importance of preserving historic spaces, whether they're in our backyard or around the world, because 1 million Americans go and visit Versailles every year.
Absolutely. I think it is one of the most important things right now that is under siege. And I think there's all kinds of nationalities that make up Texas in the settlement of the West. And each one is celebrated. And, it's our job to teach the future and teach the next generation how to maybe possibly not make the same mistakes, or celebrate what their heritage and how they were played a big role in this amazing state that we live in. And we just started the Bryan Institute for Learning, where we're starting to develop curriculum and teach the children. So I would love to see something like that happen for Versailles as well.
That's fantastic. And Kristen, I have a follow-up question to that restoration. So, talk about, the challenges, and I know that you may only have been peripherally involved, but I'm really curious about the challenges of renovating something that had basically been vacant for 200 years or not been effectively used for 200 years. Talk a little bit about, the thought and the care and the planning that goes into creating such a beautiful and important restoration.
Well, Versailles is owned and managed by the French government, and they have many beautiful properties throughout France that they attend to. The actual reconstruction of the Trois Fontaines Bosquet began in 2002. There are numerous architects that work on the monuments of France. There are a lot of fountains at Versailles, so there are already hydraulic and fountain technicians, plumbers, carpenters, gardeners, various specialized artisans. They work closely and they're managed by the French government. So for us, we didn't actually participate in hiring any of those craftsmen or gardeners, but we know them and we've met them, and they are our friends. And we see them when we go back to our picnics in the park at Versailles. And it's been really fun. So as far as preserving history, Versailles is unmatched in its architecture and garden design, and it's the largest outdoor statuary museum in the world. And a lot of them were selected by Louis XIV. So they're still there, and it's open to the public. And I've seen people ride their horses through the gardens, kick the soccer ball, have picnics. You have little golf carts. The families can spend a day there. So slowly but surely, more of the bosquets are being restored. And I think, it showcases the uplifting beauty that we all benefit from. And I think as being a good citizen, a good steward of what we've enjoyed, we should do that for future generations.
I love that. And you both touch upon the generational component and the importance of that. And I want to turn a little bit more towards the event itself. And because any great party is a great mix of people. And Lance has had the good fortune of writing about this for many years. I know I've written about it even on behalf of him on more than one occasion. Talk a little bit about the importance of having a good mix of people to create a really fun experience, because you have the perfect canvas, literally the world's most perfect canvas in Versailles to host a gala. Talk about how important the element of people is in elevating that entire event. And I'd love for Alicia to start with that.
Yes, that is the most important thing. And we are reaching out to like-minded people who share in our concerns to continue to be good stewards of these beautiful monuments. And so it's like-minded people. It's interesting people from all over the world. It's it's a potpourri, and we have historians, we have people that are philanthropists, and people that have nonprofits themselves. So it's always a wonderful party. It's always a wonderful mix of all kinds of people, not just Americans, but they come from Europe and all Asia and Dubai. So that's a fun element about the American friends, because we have all kinds of American friends that attend.
So they don't have to necessarily be American, is what I'm hearing you say. They can really
Yes.
visit from anywhere in the world. If they're a friend of America, they're welcome to American Friends of Versailles.
Yes.
That's fantastic. And you both mentioned various dates. So I know that this is a really it's a 4-day, we'll call it extravaganza for lack of a better word. So, talk a little bit about how you create, because it really is, the itinerary really is one of the most dazzling itineraries I've ever seen for any fundraiser. How does the committee create such a spectacular, unique suite of experiences for guests to enjoy over, a several-day span?
Kristin, do you want to start?
Yeah. Yes, I'm happy to. Well, we keep traditions, which is our gala dinners at Versailles. In addition to those, we always have a picnic, whereas the French pronounce it picnic. We try to go on a Monday when there's very few visitors because the main chateau itself is closed on Mondays. So there aren't that many people, and we really get to enjoy life as we like to imagine it back in the, 18th century. And it's outdoors. We have an accordion player and we have picnic baskets, but all the cuisine is basically French and with, sort of geared toward an American palate, but mostly you get to enjoy the French cuisine and wines. The new items that we try to do is just to give something people want to look forward to and experience and make new friends in France and give them entree into places that they normally wouldn't get to go on their own. And we have, as what you mentioned previously, private homes are open to us as well as chateau, and it's a very educational experience as well as fun. We have a good American Friends of Versailles family who return to almost every trip we have, and we look forward to seeing each other. I mean, if you would have told me years ago I'd have some friends in European royalty, I wouldn't have believed it, but I do now, and I can text them, and it's super fun, and it's a nice way to make international friendships in support of historic preservation.
It sounds like the ultimate educational field trip.
It truly is. And also our relationship with Catherine Picard, who is the president of the whole Versailles. She can pick up the phone and call just about anybody for us. She has access to so many great private homes and friendships. And for instance, I just got back from the 400-year anniversary that was underwritten by Dior, and she put the whole thing together. And wow. It's, it's just beyond. It was just amazing to experience that once in a lifetime kind of opportunities for sure. But we have great friends, and Kristin and I are always looking for the next spectacular place that we can host our VIPs in. We're already looking to 2026. We have some great options on the horizon. So that's a constant that we are in search of something that will wow people on these trips.
So speaking of wow moments, you both have mentioned that, there are certain people that you have kind of a core group that comes year after year. I'd love, input, just some thoughts from each of you. And Kristin, maybe we can start with you on this one. How can an organization really create a good devoted following for its, in your case, biannual gala or signature fundraiser?
Well, because we have our board members have been on our board for 2 decades plus, as well as our international council. We do add new people periodically, but they are our ambassadors of goodwill. And when they come to these events, they are warm people. So they encourage new friendships being made. In fact, last June, when we had our gala, our 25th anniversary, we had new people from Switzerland come, and they confessed afterwards that they almost didn't come. They thought it'd be, kind of boring and stuffy because they live in Europe. They said they couldn't believe how warm everyone was, how down to earth, and how much fun. So I do think it's the people. The people are very important. Yeah. And you have to be friendly. And I know Texans are very friendly, and some of us Chicagoans are very friendly, but that's important. You have to encourage friendships.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. And Alicia, I'd love for you to answer this question. It kind of dovetails to what Kristin was saying. Talk about the importance of really that broad mix of people that really allows people to just kind of be more relaxed and really have fun. And it wind up, as Kristin was saying, with the folks from Switzerland that came in, it winds up being a completely different experience from anything that they thought that they would experience.
Yeah. I really right now am focusing on Texans. So we don't have too many Texans involved, and I was really impressed with what Becca Case and Thrash did over the last, I guess 2 decades working for the Louvre, and she is definitely a role model. But I think it's important that we get our Texans involved. And when I tell them about it, they're enthusiastic and excited to be a part of it. That's my focus right now. But yeah, there's always just a host of amazing people that attend from, as I said, all over the world and the United States. And I have friends that are from the Middle East that live in Texas that are, that are thrilled to attend this year, and many people my age that didn't even know about it.
I will add just one thing, that American Friends of Versailles is very social versus there are other very powerhouse business to business type events, and we are business to people or charity to people. So we are more social, and we do have corporate sponsors, but for instance, like the American Chamber of Commerce in Paris and the French American Foundation, those are very big business entities, and they have different feel and style of events. Ours is about international friendship and restoration projects. So we definitely want to have fun, and we have good music, like what Alicia was saying, and we try to have lighthearted but mixed people, and hopefully you have long-term relationships.
That's fantastic. So I'd love for you all to kind of take us into, what are some things that people can expect to experience at this year's American Friends of Versailles Gala at various places around Paris.
And what are some of your personal favorites, I would add?
Well, I think it is absolutely fantastic to promenade through the Hall of Mirrors. On your arrival, there'll be entertainment, violins, and serenading you as you promenade through. Then we are this year we're hosting our ball in the Orangerie, and it is just an amazing space, and it's exciting to hold the ball there. But I am especially excited about Jean Paul Molyneux is opening up his beautiful home and hosting the VIPs in his home. And if you don't know who he is, he's one of the most accomplished designers in both America and Europe. And so that's a real big treat. And that I got to experience that last year, and it's just a jewel box, his home. So and they are amazing hosts. And this year we're looking at doing also a dinner in the battalion. And Kristin can tell you a little bit about that.
Oh, Kristin, please share.
We are, first I want to go back to our evening at Versailles. What is very unique and very uncommon, and I consider it a great privilege for myself, still I never get tired of it, is we are there when it's closed to the public. So you are in the Hall of Mirrors with just the American Friends of Versailles, and you can really take your time to soak up and absorb all the design elements. You can look down the Grand Canal, and there's not a lot of people blocking your views. So it's a wonderful experience that not too many people can say they've had the privilege of enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
And we, I don't ever get tired of it, and I don't think our supporters do either. Then we're going into the Orangerie, which is where they house the citrus trees in the winter, because it maintains a consistent temperature. And it's the gardens at the Orangerie are in this embroidery pattern. Very beautiful. They overlook the Swiss lake. Fireworks are in the 18th century style to Baroque music. Again, we try to have French cuisine. This year, we're having a little Texas flair. We're working on bringing over margaritas, because Margarita was an American socialite, and she invented it, and she partnered the tequila with the French liqueur Cointreau. So it was Leisha's idea to bring that over. So I've already kind of been working with the caterer, and we're going to put him in French champagne coupe glasses, and so there's going to be a little mix. So it should be a lot of fun. And that is our gala, and I highly recommend it. People should definitely experience it. It's unlike any other event, I imagine. I know Monte Carlo has them, but this is Versailles, the Gardens of Versailles, and it's closed to the public when we're there. It's an unbelievable experience.
Amazing.
So it's literally like almost like getting like a private tour, but you're there in a party environment. So it's like literally a private party experience at one of the world's most iconic spaces.
And everyone's dressed up to the hilt. I mean, where are you going to wear? I mean, this is a place where you can wear a ball gown. I mean, big dresses. I know in Texas they do stuff, big. In Chicago,
way of
you'd have
life
to do
here.
it at
Yeah.
the opening of the opera or something. But here at Versailles, you can really go for it and you'll fit in. You'll just fit right in. So it's fun.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well
It's almost
said.
like the new Gilded Age, which has been such a successful series, which has really inspired a lot of fashion and culture these days. And you all are right in line with that.
Indeed.
Absolutely. And Alicia, I'd love for you to share, what's the secret, with you coming in and being new, what advice would you give to somebody looking to create, as a new person helming, something that's really, really high profile, forging good relationships with boards and with, people like Kristin and, who work for the organization. What's a piece of advice you would give to someone looking to do that?
I think my advice would be that I feel like for me, I am confident that my experiences have prepared me to help others deeply appreciate the treasures of Versailles. And I love to entertain. I love history. I love fashion, and I love architecture and beauty. So it's everything in my wheelhouse. I think that if you have all those type of interest, you'll be a perfect candidate. I think it takes a lot of work and also social skills. I think I'm constantly on the phone and I'm educating and I'm just talking about why it is important, especially today, to be stewards of these beautiful monuments that have been passed down to us. So if you have all that, you're perfect candidate for the job.
Perfect. And so here, just between us and our listeners, can you share between you two what you think is one common element that every successful event contains, whether it's the American Friends of Versailles or other events that you've attended and done, research on and just observed? Is there one element that you think is the most important of all?
And we'll start with Kristin on that one.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
For me, well, I'm coming at it from a different angle because I'm also the business manager. I know there have been outstanding parties, outstanding benefits, even at Versailles, that haven't raised any money. So for me, a successful event that has in common is raising funds at the end of the day. That's important. We all can throw luxurious parties. That's not the issue. The issue is, can you restore a garden afterwards? And as far as I do think, you don't want to give a cold feeling. So you try to have a cocktail at the beginning, maybe overlooking the Grand Canal with the fountains going, and try to have people relax and introduce themselves and to set the evening for, off on the right tone.
Yeah, I also think it's exciting to be a part of the process or be a part of one of these restoration projects and to have your name associated with it, and that goes down, in the history books. I think people love the thought of being a part of history in the making. I also think there's some great projects that we're considering that have to do with America, and that will be to be determined. But I've got some interesting things that are coming soon that I think will be really attractive to people who want to be a part of this new generation at Versailles.
So exciting. I think that's all really great insight. And I completely agree 1,000%.
Absolutely. And, I want to end on one question. It's a question I don't get to ask very often, so I'm really excited to ask it. And I'd love each of you to answer it. And that is, what is one thing that people can benefit from when they work successfully in raising funds with another culture, like like Americans do for France in the case of Versailles?
I think just tangibly seeing their money spent on whatever project we're working on, and they get to see the finished product and be a part of that. Again, historically, they are changing the future for many people who visit the museum and future generations. So I think, me, it would be that.
And Kristin?
I think you would get to meet some very interesting people and doors are open to you that you normally wouldn't ever have access to. I mean, you may meet an ambassador either from France or to France. And, if you're not in that diplomatic world, there's not too often you get a chance to do that. You get to meet some very key top level business leaders of both our countries that support civic endeavors, in addition to all these very prominent female socialites that are also in business. I mean, you get to meet some really interesting
That's
people,
true.
European royals,
Friendships, definitely. Yeah. you're
you
right.
get to meet European royals that you wouldn't normally hobnob with, but you're having a drink or sitting next to at dinner. And like I said, our picnic is very relaxed, so you can walk around and mill around and meet people that you normally wouldn't be exposed to. So it is about international friendship. And
Yeah.
I think in addition to the projects, it's the people.
And I think
Amazing.
that's the
Yeah.
perfect moment to end on. And really, people is what makes an event, and you've got to have an array of people there for it to be successful. No one wants to be in a room where everyone's just like them. And I can't think of a gala that does that better than the American Friends of Versailles. So, Alicia, Kristin, thank you both so much for joining us today.
And congratulations on, 26 years. It's phenomenal. That is a phenomenal success track record that you all have achieved. And I'm sure this is the beginning of even bigger things.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Lance.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And the American Friends of Versailles, La Gala de Fleurs Orangées, will be a series of bespoke events from May 31st through June 3rd, 2024 at various locations throughout Paris, France. For more information, please visit AmericanFriendsOfVersailles.org. And that will do it for this episode of Fun and Fundraising. I'm Rob Giardinelli, joined by...
I'm Lance Avery Morgan.
And reminding you to keep it fun, keep it interesting, and your guests will have a great time. Have a great day, everyone, and take care.